Greetings and welcome to the UFO reality. And my name's Alex, and thank you for joining me, and I hope you're going to find the next few minutes interesting. Well, today I want to talk to you about what is claimed to be the greatest UFO photograph ever taken. It's the Calvine photograph. And right off, I'm going to show you the Calvine photograph. Here it is. Please forgive, this is a rather crude print I've made. Can you see that? I hope you can. There it is. Okay, I urge you to go and find a better copy for yourself. It's easily found by a quick internet search. Okay, a little bit of background. You may not have heard about the Calvine photograph, and I find so many of these lesser known cases and incidents to be absolutely fascinating. They really add depth and colour to this whole subject, rather than just sticking to the very large, very major headline cases, the likes of Roswell and such, which obviously they do deserve to be covered. They are, after all, possibly the most significant cases, but there are thousands of lesser known cases out there, incidents, photographs, reports, and this is where, when you dig into it, when you dig into the subject, you can find some absolutely fascinating information and detail. Okay, so a little bit of background. It's the 4th of August. It's 1990. Two hotel workers at the Fisher Hotel in Calvine, which is in central Scotland, finish their shift, decide to go for a hike after work into the beautiful countryside. They do this, and several miles into their walk, they come across the photograph, what you've seen. A triangular shaped craft moving through the air, and in attendance is a fighter aircraft. Now these guys, they're scared, they're terrified, so they run for cover, they hide themselves in some brush, some undergrowth. One of them has a camera, and he manages to fire off 6 shots. Now, they develop the photographs and they send them to a newspaper in Scotland called the Daily Record. The Daily Record doesn't publish the photographs, but it appears what they do is they try to get some corroboration and some feedback, some depth, some colour as to what actually it is that it's being shown in the photographs. So what do? Well, they contact the local RAF base and they hand the photographs to the RAF press secretary there, a guy by the name of Craig Lindsay. Now, Mr. Lindsay forwards them on to London, and the MOD contact Mr. Lindsay and say, look, can you get back in touch with the newspaper? We'd like everything they've got, all the photographs, all the negatives, please send them to London. He does that, and the newspaper sends him everything they have. The images get sent to London. It's 1990, and that's it. They're never seen again. Well, not quite. So, how do the photographs come to be known? How do they come to be seen? Well, I think it's through the diligent and in-depth work by a gentleman of the name of Dr. David Clark. Dr. David Clark is a very, very dedicated researcher. And what he does is he goes through the National Archive and he searches for declassified and released documents relating to the UFO matters and other matters. And through his diligence and through his research, he came across a name, the name he doesn't release, but he managed to contact a particular gentleman who was a former employee of the Ministry of Defence, and he asked him the question, what's the most amazing thing you've seen? What's the most amazing thing that's come across your desk? And this gentleman says, in 1990, 2 poachers, as he described them, took a photograph of a craft. And he says, and that really stands out. He says, that's one of the incidents that stands out in my mind as being one of the most fascinating I ever came across. Soon, Dr. Clark's research then connects him to the RAF press officer, who is still alive, obviously, and he speaks to Mr. Lindsay, and Mr. Lindsay is now an elderly gentleman, And he says, wow, I've been waiting for this phone call for 30 years. And during the conversation with Dr. Clark, Mr. Lindsay says, look, I tell you what I'll do. I'm gonna go through my personal archive, go through all of my records. And he does this, and within 2 or 3 weeks, miraculously, he's got one copy left. He's saved one of the 6 photographs, and it's the one that you can find now that I have shown you. He's kept it, and that is quite fascinating, quite amazing. And if it wasn't for that, we would not be looking at this image, and we probably wouldn't be talking about this story. But he kept it, and Dr. Clark had it analysed. I believe he's now a professor at Sheffield Hallam University, and he had an in-depth photo analysis undertaken, and they found that the photograph was unmolested. It had not been tampered with. It was a genuine photograph, and it's quite amazing. So, who took the photographs? Who were these guys? Who were these poachers? Who were these hotel workers? Well, James Fox, the famous UFO investigative journalist and documentary maker, has made his most recent documentary, The Programme. And in this documentary, which I thoroughly recommend you watch, there is an in-depth segment that discusses the Calvine photograph incident. And James Fox actually tracks down a co-worker of the 2 photographers, and the co-worker does recall the incident. He recalls the 2 gentlemen. He doesn't name them, but he does recall the photograph being taken, and also he recalls sometime thereafter a large black car pulling up outside of the hotel, the 2 co-workers, the 2 photographers being called out into a rainy, dark night for a detailed and in-depth and an intense conversation with 2 black-suited gentlemen. Are these the men in black? Okay. They return to the kitchen, and as described by the witness, a gentleman by the name of Mr. Greaves, the 2 co-workers are never the same again. They descend over the following weeks into a state of despair, heavy drinking, failure to turn up for work, which eventually leads them to disappear entirely. And their whereabouts to this day is not known. They've never come forward, and that's all we know. So, the greatest photograph of a UFO ever taken. What a story. What a story. Now, as James Fox says in his documentary, if that aircraft is an RAF plane, and it does look like it's a Harrier jump jet, there will be logs. The pilot will be recorded. The mission will be recorded. It will be recorded. We should be able to identify that pilot. The Ministry of Defence says they have no knowledge of the flight, they have no records, they have no logs. Think about this. A pilot tends to be a young man. Let's say he was 25, 35 years of age, probably something like that. This was 34 years ago. So this pilot is probably now late 60s into his 70s. Every reason to believe that he could very certainly be alive. Imagine being able to find him. Imagine being able to interview him and talk to him. He's never come forward. What does he know? What did he see? What could he tell us? Just think about that. I mean, that's just amazing. Just amazing. So again, that's all I really have to say today. I just wanted to bring you this short presentation. What I hope to do is bring you further presentations in the future, detailing little aspects that I find interesting. This subject, it needs light shedding on it. We need to pull back the curtain and find out the truth. I mean, it has to happen. And it's only through people like you taking an interest that this subject, that this truth is ever going to be revealed. And this is what we have to do. So again, thank you for watching. This is the UFO reality. We need to uncover the truth. Please like this video. Please, if you could, I'd be very, very grateful if you would subscribe. I'm really trying to get this off the ground now. Thank you for watching. My name's Alex, and I hope to see you again soon. Goodbye.